stops us in our tracks. Bravely we prove in our striving, trudging together each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good evening. I don't think there's anybody here yet. In the meantime, we'll listen to the good doctor. You guys probably can't hear it. My wife has hearing aids, so when she puts those in, she has the power of Superman. Ever since she got those things, I've had to watch what I say. I'm going to give it to the 3-minute mark and I'll get started. So, we're going to talk about the 11th step. Good old step 11. Yes, I want to say something on it, but I'm waiting for people to get here so I don't repeat myself for the rewatchers. Hey, welcome. Go ahead. Be you and me. Good evening. Good evening. Good to have you. All right. One person here. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I'm going live again because I don't feel like I've helped somebody today. And my goal every day is to help at least one person, right? So, actually, I did help some people today. See, this work has got to become so natural that that's what happens. Did I help somebody? Yeah, I did help a couple of people, but I still feel the need. That's what step 11 is all about. Step 11, it's almost a forgotten step. It is. Welcome to the Daily Trudge. I'm Dion. I'm going to be yakking at you this evening. We're going to be talking about God. We're going to be talking about God. And if you're here, please say hello. We're going to be talking about our relationship with God. We're going to be talking about step 11. The loneliest step. The loneliest step. We hardly ever talk about it. So let's talk about it. First, what is step 11? Sought through prayer and meditation. There's our first instructions. We sought. Well, I already sought God. Oh, you're going to seek him more. It's all about action. It's always about action. Oh, hi, Patricia. Thank you. I appreciate that. So sought through prayer and meditation. So those are our first instructions, prayer and meditation. Okay? It's the meditation, isn't it? It's hard for me to meditate, and I probably got to get better with it myself. To improve our conscious contact with God as we understood him, praying only for the knowledge of his will and the power to carry that out. Are you hearing that word? Power. We have power? You do. You have power. It's just now you know how to use it right. Leadership is power. What I do here is power, the power of God. Okay? And I seek him every day. I do. I look for the great things in this world. I do my meditation a little different. I call it decompression. Because all during the day, I have these little times that are like 5-10 minutes where I'm just staring into space. And I'm meditating. I'm talking to God. I'm thinking on things. I'm letting myself. What the trick is to stop using your brain. Well, that's really hard for me to do. So I will do things that distract my brain so that my subconscious can work on stuff without me interfering with it. Does that make sense? Listening to music, playing my drums, playing video games, playing a game that I don't have to use my brain for because I do that quite often and it works for me. Is that going to be sustainable? I'm thinking not. Okay. So we are going to start on page 103. Okay. It's going to sound a little bit weird. Of course, it is reasonable and understandable that the question is often asked, why can't we take a specific troubling dilemma straight to God and in prayer secure from Him the sure and definite answers to our requests? I'm kind of going through this right now. Money. Hey, not asking God for money. God doesn't do money. He does do miracles. This can be done, but it has its hazards. Yeah, it's God's will, and God's will is going to be God's will. But that doesn't mean sometimes that I don't seek Him for comfort. Right? Because I do. You bet. We have seen AAs ask with such earnestness and faith for God's explicit guidance on matters ranging all the way from shattering domestic or financial crisis to correcting a minor personal fault, like tardiness. Quite often, however, the thoughts that seem to come from God are not answers at all. They prove to be the well-intentioned, unconscious rationalizations. There, got it. Yeah. We have to take care of what we ask from God. Yeah. Don't pray for patience. I'm telling you, do not pray for patience. Some of you are going to go out and do it. No, don't come crying to me. The AA, or indeed the man who tries to run his life rigidly by this kind of prayer must, by this self-serving demand of God for replies, is a particularly disconcerting individual. You got to back it up. Go talk to another person first. Check your intentions. That's a great way. Is this mine or God's? Well, what are my intentions? Well, I'm trying to get a little vicarious play. Oh, there's your answer. No. Have you taught yourself, and are you okay with you telling yourself no? Because sometimes these answers don't come right away. Sometimes answers do. But if your expectation is that it's going to happen that way, good luck. And I've said several times, God does talk directly to me sometimes. But most of the times it comes from other people. Usually when I get that, it's an indication usually to help somebody. I don't get, Dion, you must walk across the street, go 3 paces left. No, that's not, no, it's Dion, help that person. And you know it. It's your intuition talking to you. To any questioning or criticism of his actions, he instantly proffers his reliance upon prayer for guidance in all matters, great or small. He may have forgotten the possibility that his own wishful thinking and human tendencies to rationalize have distorted his so-called guidance. Okay? That's why it is important that we work this step every day. Okay? It is a maintenance step. What is it what's it maintaining? Step 3. Step 3. 3 and 11. Okay? 3 and 11. They go together. Okay? 3 was it's a very personal step. I'm telling you. I've not seen it any other way. Okay? In my experience, I do my 3rd step with my sponsees, and it's a few days, a week, sometimes even 2 weeks later before they turn around and go, got it. Okay. But we do not move on to the 4th step until I see that aha moment. And I need to be patient for that. Okay. The other day, I did a 3rd step with a man, and God answered him immediately within 20 minutes. Within 20 minutes. And he utilized other people to answer that for him too. And he was willing to listen. Now his problem is solved. He's going to move out of a sober living that is not working for him. And now he's going to be in a very healthy environment. I'm excited for him because there's cool things coming up. Right? All right. With the best of intentions, he tends to force his will into all sorts of situations and problems with the comfortable assurance that he is acting under God's specific direction. Under such an illusion, he can, of course, create great havoc without in the least intending it. Okay? Usually people that'll say things like, they will do something to somebody else and they will say, they'll thank me later. No, I don't get to decide what other people get to do. I can barely handle myself, right? This person they aren't checking their intentions here, right? Because even it says within the least intending it. Well, no, they're not meaning to do it. We also fall into another similar temptation. We form ideas as to what we think God's will is for other people. We say to ourselves, this one ought to be cured of his fatal malady, or that one ought to be relieved of his emotional pain. And we pray for these things specifically. Oh, I just got to laugh at that because who the fuck do I think I am? I'm not a saint. I don't have a direct connection to God. And he says, oh, yeah, how I, Dion? I don't make those decisions. That is somebody else's sobriety, somebody else's recovery. I'm a guide. Meet that person where they're at, and you won't have a problem with that anymore. If you always meet people where they're at, you will not go through this crap. Right? I don't sit around and think about my sponsees and how they need to be better in this area and that area. I don't do that. I got better things to do with my time. God takes care of that stuff. So sometimes we go through this program. Step 11, it'll separate things. If you've done the work, step 11 is not going to be tough for you at all because you'll already be doing it. They're telling us about these downfalls we might run into because now we're in the maintenance stages and we feel like we might be better than other people. And that's not true. Not even close. No. Because every single one of us is an arm length away from the next drink. Every one of us. It's usually step 11 when I see people say, I don't need AA anymore. Oh, don't worry, I'll be fine. I made that mistake. I made the same mistake. Didn't work. Such prayers, of course, are fundamentally good acts, but often they are based on the supposition that we know God's will for the person who we pray. This means that side by side with earnest prayer, there can be a certain amount of presumption and conceit in us. I see that in myself. I do this. It is an experience that, particularly in these cases, we ought to pray that God's will, whatever it is, be done for others as well as for ourselves. I do not demand things from God. I just don't. Okay? If somebody asks me to pray for them, I'm going to be praying for courage. I'm not going to be praying for you to be relieved of whatever it is that you're going through, because it doesn't work that way. In AA, we have found that the actual good results of prayer are beyond question. You found that. So why would you stop? Oh, because I know God's will. I don't know God's will. My will is in line with God's will, but that's the extent of it. I don't need any more than that. I don't. That is plenty from God. It takes away my loneliness. It makes me feel like I'm a part of, that I'm actually making some strides in this life. That means something. I'm the kind of person that when I leave this world, I want something to continue on that I did. And I've already guaranteed that just by being sober and passing on my experience. I've done that. They are the matters of knowledge and experience. All those who have persisted have found strength not ordinary their own. They have found wisdom beyond their usual capabilities. And they have increasingly found a peace of mind which can stand firm in the face of difficult circumstances. See, I can also relate to that. Right? Because right now, what I'm looking for is strength. And lately, there have been things that have been coming out of my mouth that I don't ordinarily know. I'm going to read one more paragraph and then we'll wrap it up. We discover that we do receive guidance for our lives, suggestions about the extent that we stop making demands upon God to give it to us on order and on our terms. Okay? You gotta acquire the skill of delayed gratification. It's a skill. What does that mean? It means that you need to practice over and over and over and over and over and over again. It's never going to be perfect, but it'll certainly be better. Right? Almost any experienced AA will tell how his affairs have taken remarkable and unexpected turns for the better when he tried to improve his conscious contact with God. So when you came in, you had a spiritual malady. You remember that? Remember that spiritual malady you had? And you took care of the spiritual malady and everything else fell into place? It's not going to change. That doesn't change. Why our minds tend to think that we have gone beyond something, I don't get. I don't understand that. We've all been rocketed into the fourth dimension. Every single one of us. He will also report that out of every season of grief or suffering, when the hand of God seemed heavy or even unjust, new lessons for living were learned. New resources of courage were uncovered. And that finally, inescapably, the conviction came that God does move in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. See, and I get to experience that every day. It's so cool. See, alcohol used to rule my life. This brain, my disease used to rule my life. Now I'm just free. Nobody rules my life anymore. God just doesn't make too many high demands of me. He doesn't. And every time I do more to show other people what God can do, the closer I get to God. So don't forget that step 11, man. It's very, very important. It is. It's part of the maintenance steps. And if you are on steps, if you're part of the maintenance steps, man, then it's even more imperative that you do it. Because it's leadership by example. That's how we do this in AA. We do everything by example. There's no other way. Okay? Because, and it has to be that way. It has to be open. It has to be broad and roomy. Because this person's recovery is going to look different than yours. So get something out of it. See, working with others and meeting them where they're at, okay? When I go through the steps with them, I'm going through the steps again. That's why you don't need one of the reasons why you don't need to go get another sponsor and work through the steps again. I mean, if you want to, okay, that's great. But when you're wasting that time right there, you could be helping somebody else. How selfish. I'm sorry, but that's not 11th step to me. It's not. It's no. Well, me, and I got to do it. No. That time's over with. See, do you now when I say things like, do you want to be sane? You know, do you want to be able to use your brain again? Do you want power? Real power. Okay. And the power to carry that out. You know what that actually is? Courage. It's more courage. Do you want less fear? Do you want more courage? What do you want? I want more courage. I want more courage. It isn't that the world changed. The world didn't change. My reaction changed. And because of that, I changed. All right, that's what I got. That, and I think my wife wants to get back to her show. So, thank you everybody for being here, babe. Thank you for letting me interfere with your time. I love you all. Peace out.